Well, it's a rainy beginning to week 3. The shelter that I stayed at last night, 9 different people and a dog. Only 2 of the other hikers I knew. One of them was Pyro. How much video I do today, of course, will depend upon the weather and the sights. But week 3 begins. I'm still planning on trying to keep low mileage, somewhere in the 10-mile range for another week or 2. But that'll depend upon weather conditions and how far apart tent sites or shelters are. But we'll see. Nonetheless, the day begins. I'm sure there's no view today, but that is where I saw a rattlesnake last year. All right, so about 10 minutes ago, I felt comfortable enough taking off my rain pants. It had been raining, well, pretty much all morning, but it had stopped for the last half hour or so. I don't know if you can hear it, but 10 minutes after I took them off, I had to put them back on because the sky just opened up again. The joys of hiking the AT. Almost tempted to stop here, even though fires are currently prohibited. It's nice having little rock seats to sit down on. And there are some decent sites to put a tent. Nevertheless, I push on. I've got about 3.8 miles to a tent site, 8 point something to a shelter. All depends upon how far I want to push myself. When I get to the tent site, I'll make the decision then. So it hasn't been bad for the past hour and a half, 2 hours. It's not currently raining. I'm about 1.5 miles from the tent site. And I did decide not to go any further, although I feel that I could, simply because, I'm trying to stick to days that are around 10 miles. Going to the tent site is a little over 12, and going beyond to the shelter is just pushing more miles, pushing myself more than I want to. I feel that I could do it, but, taking it easy now, I think, will benefit me in the long run. So my day is shortly coming to an end. Well, not that short. It'll take a while to do the 1.5 miles. But at least it's on fairly level ground. So that's nice. Nice way to end the day. It's pain in the neck to end the day on an uphill. This is not marked as a water source in far out. But all the rain today has basically flooded this section of the trail and has made it a water source. Not that I happen to need any water at this time. Well, I didn't want to do it, but the campsite back there, couldn't really find a good place for my tent. And there was a little bit of a broken glass in one of the possible places where I could pitch my tent. So even though I did not want to push miles today, I've got another 4.3, 4.4. to either the shelter or the tenting area near it. So it wasn't the day I wanted, lengthwise. I wanted a shorter day, but fortunately for me, the rain has stopped and the terrain is pretty good. I don't know what body of water that is, but with today's rains, man, is it flowing. I got to the shelter, but it was full. Far Out says that it holds about 6 people. The reality is these shelters deduct 1 or 2, so a 6-person shelter might comfortably hold 4 people, maybe 5. But anyways, there are plenty of tent sites, so this is where I'm setting up for tonight. And it does have the virtue of being not too far from the privy, should I need it in the middle of the night. All right, here's my campsite, all cleaned up, all packed up, ready to head out on a new day. A little history lesson, and I hope you can hear me above the noise. That is a diversion well. What happens is the water upstream is acidic as a result of years ago, the mining industry and what have you. And because of that, it adversely affects the trout population. So what the diversion well does is that basically the water pulverizes limestone, reintroduces it here. That limestone reduces the acidity level, which I believe raises the pH number. And basically on the other side, this water is much more appropriate, much more acceptable for trout. So by adding the limestone, reducing the acidity, making it possible for the fish population. Pretty cool. This begins a stretch of Beaver Dam flooded trail. The trick is to get across without getting your feet wet. Now last year when I did it in July, it was a lot drier and I was actually able to do it. With the rains that we had yesterday, this could be interesting. I'll let you know how it goes on the other side. Okay, through the worst of it. One slightly damp foot when I stepped on a log that went down a little further than I anticipated. But other than that, not bad. I had to crouch down low to get under that. But take a look at the bottom of it. The number of backpacks that thing has scraped against, and Lord knows how long. A bit of an obstructed view this morning. I'm sure I can see it better than you, but it looks like this is also the site of a controlled burn at one point, which is kind of interesting. All this new undergrowth in the area of the controlled burn. I'm sure it improves the habitat in some way, but I'm no expert. But there had to be a reason for the controlled burn. A nice break from yesterday's rain. Well, this looks like fun. Let's see what happens. It was that last step that was a little bit on the gnarly side, but mission accomplished. Even when you're hiking in the woods, sometimes civilization is just over your shoulder. So this is the trail, but it looks like some people have bushwhacked a bit of a path around it. So that's where I'm going. I'm surprised that a trail crew hasn't been through here yet, although it may be fairly recent. I would say that this constitutes the view of the day. Don't know what that is off in the distance. This is my abode for the evening, the William Penn Shelter. It is a double-decker. I haven't checked out upstairs yet. At around noon today, I stopped at a soon-to-be opening hostel. It's not ready for a lot of hikers yet. They're still working on the main building, even though they can accommodate 1 or 2 hikers. But anyways, they do have some limited resupply available, particularly in the form of snacks. So when I stopped there, I had a couple of ice cream sandwiches, not something you normally find on the trail, a Coke. It's funny, I don't drink a lot of soda at home, but on the trail, soda tastes so good. And to pack out to have with dinner tonight, some nice Cape Cod chips and some tasty cakes. In Pennsylvania, how can you go wrong with tasty cakes?
Good morning. I'm here in the shelter, and the truth of the matter is I did not get that good a night's sleep. All night long, a baby squirrel, it didn't have the markings of a chipmunk, so I'm pretty sure it was a squirrel, has been trying to get into my gear. Now, you hang your packs on pegs that are set in the walls, but the thing is, squirrels can climb vertical wooden walls. They climb trees all the time. So this little bugger, I heard him scrunching around, and I flashed my headlamp on him, and he stopped. And he looked at me, and I looked at him, and I basically shooed him away. This happens several times throughout the night, every 45 minutes to an hour or so. Finally, at around 4 o'clock, one of two things happened. Either I shoot him away for the last time, or I was so exhausted by then that I slept through any new arrivals that the squirrel made. But anyway, did not get the best night's sleep in a shelter, and I usually do sleep pretty well in a shelter. Well, today is going to be a very, very short day. I did longer miles the last few days than I really wanted to. Particularly 2 days ago, I did 18, and I had no intention of doing that. So there's supposed to be a thunderstorm tonight, and my choices are 4 miles or 20 miles to the next shelters. And I'm opting for the 4 miles. So actually, I'm staying in this shelter for a while, going to get a later start than I normally do. Have an early arrival, obviously with only 4 miles, at the next shelter, and then kind of hunker down for the thunderstorm that's coming. The nice thing about the next shelter is that you can actually order food because it is right off of a road. Hikers do it all the time. So I look forward to seeing what's available. The day begins, but much more slowly than it usually does.
So I'm finally on trail. Wasn't in any hurry to get out of the shelter. Actually listened to a chapter of an audiobook. Having done more miles than I wanted to the last couple of days. Today I'm going to take a Nero, which is hiker talk for, it's not a 0 day, 0 miles, but a very low mile day. Just taking it easy, not even moving fast. There's more than one way to give your body a break. Flicker, blowtorch, and this is Trail Angel Steve, who provided wonderful soda and snacks. We love Trail Angels. So that was my first trail magic from Trail Angel Steve. Simple setup, snacks and soda or Gatorade, which is, really what most hikers want. Now, some trail magic is much more elaborate, but simple or elaborate, much appreciated by the hiking community. This is Fisher Overlook. It may be the view of the day. There is supposed to be another view, I think a mile or more up the trail. We'll see which is the better view. Now it is, as you can tell, overcast, a bit foggy, but it's also a cool day, which is good. All right, so this is a pretty nice view as well. And I think it's probably takes the prize because it's a less obstructed view than the other one. That was pretty nice too. I just noticed this. You've got a windsock up there. You have indicators for wind speed there. I'm wondering if this is a takeoff spot for hang gliders. One might think. Good morning, everyone. Guess what it's supposed to do all day today? Right now, it's actually not that bad. And as you can hear, I'm not far from a road. I just left the shelter that I stayed at, the 501 shelter. There were 4 Nobo through hikers staying with me. Hello, little chipmunk. And okay, that is the trail again. So, 4 Nobos staying, and considering it rained all night last night, it's a good chance that parts of the trail are going to be flooded today. But that's the way it goes. A new day begins. A message for the Nobos. 1,200 miles. They've got less than 1,000 miles to go. Which means I've got less than 1,000 miles to go to get to Katahdin, but I'll only be halfway done. That's okay. A tiny bit of view. I'm not sure what else I'm going to get today. This is the Shower Steps Vista. Not quite sure how it got its name, but very pretty. Overcast. It actually has not rained, except water droplets falling from the leaves. So that's a good thing. this is not unusual. Hikers keeping track of their mileage will do these. So what's the 1,200 mile mark? This one or the one a little over a mile back? Who knows? A view on a very overcast day. There was a hawk flying around and I was hoping to catch it, but I guess he flew out of the picture. And the trail goes that way. Site of Fort Dietrich Snyder, a lookout post to warn of the approach of enemies in the French and Indian War. The Historical Society of Berks County, 1755. Good morning. Back on the trail after a 3/10 of a mile walk from the shelter. Some shelters and some tenting areas are literally right off the trail. Some of them you've got to walk 2/10 of a mile, 3/10 of a mile, or what have you. And then sometimes the walk for water is even longer. So the official distance of the AT this year is 2,197.4 miles. But you walk much more than that because those 2/10 and those 3/10 really add up. Nonetheless, today is a beautiful day. No rain in the forecast. High is supposed to be in the high 60s. It may get into the 70s. Not that that would be bad, but I hope it stays in the high 60s. But great day for hiking. So I just climbed up this rock-infested incline. There's more to go, but it's not as rocky. And the only significance of it is I didn't have to stop as many times as I usually do. I would never say that I've got my trail legs yet, but it is getting a little bit better. The fact that it's cool also helps. I think even after I have my trail legs, when it's hot, I'm going to be taking a lot of mini breaks on the inclines. This is Auburn Lookout. It is the only vista that is listed in far out for today, given the distance that I plan on going. So, unless some unknown vista presents itself, this is the view of the day. So here I am on this nice wooden bench. I'm about 7/10 of a mile from Port Clinton, which is where I'm going to stop for the day. I am really trying to keep it under 10 miles for the next couple days. So even though it's fairly early, that's what I'm going to do. It has been a great day, not much by way of views, but it's been a great day. So a little break before the final push. A staring contest. Who's going to move first? All right, I'm going to see how close I can get before it moves. I don't think it hurts something. What this region used to be known for, it's coal. Hi, I'm at the St. John's Church Pavilion. They provided for, I'm sure they have church functions here, but they allow AT hikers to use it. Sobos, Nobos, flip-floppers, section hikers, you name it. They ask for a $10 donation, so I'll certainly be giving them that. But it's a nice big pavilion. There's one other hiker who's here, or his stuff is here. He actually went to visit the Port Clinton Barbershop, which is kind of famous in the AT hiking community. But I'm kind of settled in here for the day. It was a short mile day, as you know. Tomorrow, 10 to 15 miles, it all depends. I do have a resupply box that Kathy sent me in Palmerton, so I have to figure out the logistics of the best time to get there. I probably can't get there by Saturday. Post office is closed on Sunday, of course, so you can hear that the highway is not that far away. So I have to figure out the logistics of Monday or Tuesday. So settled in for the night, even though it's kind of early, but that's what happens when you try to keep it to low mileage. Good morning, everybody. I'm not officially back on trail yet. In fact, I've got to walk not quite a mile back to the trail. What I did was I went to breakfast at 3 C's restaurant in Far Out. It's gotten rave reviews for the very hiker-friendly place that it is, and this stupendous breakfast. Much larger than I would normally eat at home, but out here you need the calories. That's your fuel for the day. So I am well fueled. I'm on my way, and pretty soon I'll be back on trail. I have come to learn that this is the Little Schuylkill River. I presume at some point it will flow into the main branch of the Schuylkill and go on through Philadelphia. What is the significance of that line? The official distance of the Appalachian Trail this year is 2,197.4 miles. By my calculations, that is 197.4 miles from where I began. I only have 2,000 more miles to go. Now I have less than 2,000 miles to go. Hey, you got to take your milestones where you can get them. Heading up to Pulpit Rock. Lots of rocks before you get to Pulpit Rock. There was a couple that stayed in Port Clinton yesterday. They didn't have a dog. I know they're heading up to Exville Shelter, which is where I'm headed. That's another 8 miles or so. Okay. So that was Pulpit Rock. No commentary while I was there. I was talking to a nice couple. This is a Saturday, and there are a lot of day hikers out. Apparently there's a campground nearby as well, so I'm sure some of the people are from there. But anyways, Pulpit Rock is a popular destination for day hikers. So is the next spot that I'm going to. It's called the Pinnacle. But anyway, I had a very nice conversation with them. Apparently they got back recently from a Viking River cruise. And I told them that Kathy and I have taken a couple of them and we like them. So a very pleasant conversation with them. And now, on with the trail. So this is the kind of trick that the trail will play on you. You lose track of time. You lose track of days. I spent the entire day hiking thinking it was Saturday, and it's only Friday. That's okay, I get to hike again on Saturday. Good morning. It's supposed to rain today, so I hope I can get to the place where I'm staying before the rain begins. At the very least, I'll have some place to dry out. But right now, it's a nice cool morning, great for hiking. I don't really think there are any views today. at least not in far out. Tomorrow I should be doing, well, not should be, I will definitely be doing Knife's Edge because it's just a couple of miles after the place I'm staying tonight. So that will be an adventure. But today it seems it's more along the lines of getting from point A to point B. And that's what some days are like on the trail. Well, it has started raining. I don't know if you can hear it. It's not raining heavily. And right now, it's not really getting down to me. It's just, I can hear it on the leaves of the trees. So if it stays like this, that won't be bad. We'll just have to see, but nope, I did not out-hike the rain. Wow, isn't that a lovely view? We hike on. My first red eft. So the rain has let up. Whether that's a temporary situation or for the rest of the day, I don't know. The sky does look like it's trying to get lighter. And the terrain has finally gotten a little bit cruisy. But I gotta tell you, earlier when it was raining, it was one boulder scramble after another. And those are tough when it's dry. When it's wet, man, you're being very careful not to take a wrong step, turn an ankle, break a leg. But got through it safely and now enjoying some better terrain. So this morning wasn't the best. A lot of boulder scrambling over wet boulders. My pace was incredibly slow trying to get through those boulders without falling, which I didn't do. I had one fall, nothing serious. Several near falls, thank God for trekking poles. The rain has stopped. If you hear drops falling, it's because it's falling from the leaves from the trees. But because the morning wasn't so good, I did something that I don't normally do. I'm at a shelter. This is not a shelter I'm going to stay at. But I stopped and I made myself some lunch. I don't normally cook lunch. I usually eat on the trail. But a nice pot of ramen, comfort food on the trail. Now I'm hopeful that the rest of the day goes better. The sun does look like it's trying to come out. The trail is still going to be wet. I don't know how many boulders there are ahead of me, but nothing like a good lunch to raise your spirits.